Now the next topic is not all men can stand adversity, but nearly all men can stand adversity, but to test character give him power. So now basic idea behind this essay topic is, it is trying to convey that when we are faced with adversity, when we are having challenges in our life, right? So this adversity, it checks our strength per se, right? It checks our resilience. It checks our perseverance, right? If you are going through a struggling time, if you are facing with challenges, fears, failures or adversity, any kind of adversity, your career is not going good, your relationship is not going good, there are financial problems. So this quote is saying that nearly all men can stand that, right? That man is capable enough to withstand the adversity, and this adversity will be checking our strength, right? It will not test our character, right? A character of man is tested when you give him power, right? It's not that you are going through, when you're going through difficulties, everybody is mellowed down, right? Everybody is, not aggressive in nature, or character is good only when you're going through your adversities or challenges. Your struggle humbles you down. Yeah? You become humble when you're going through any challenge, any failure in your life. So that is not a test of your character, because nearly all people human beings have capacity to engage with any kind of adversity. They can stand through it. If you want to actually test what kind of person that is, give him power, right? Give him some kind of power, because power will tell his true character, how he is, right? Because once someone is poor, he will be humble only. Give him power for one day, how he reacts, how he uses, that will decide what kind of person is, what kind of character that person holds, right? Say take example, there are so many political leaders who come from humble backgrounds, right? While they are conversing for elections, while they are in the initial political struggle days, they will always come across leaders who listen to people, who talk to them, who, take care of their problems, or, try to get their voices reached up to the top party, leadership, right? As soon as they get certain power, MP, MLA, they just forget it, right? They are humbled right now, they're sitting with the citizens because they want vote. Right now they do not have power. Once they get power, they just stopped worrying about what people have to say about them, right? So that is test of the character, that in totality or in reality, you are not a very good person, right? An anecdote I've written about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So he was born in a low caste Mahar family, right? So he faced a lot of caste-based discrimination, lot of adversity in his life, right? And he got a chance to study abroad, study law, right? And became one of the most important political leaders in our country. And from being a person from lower caste, where he was asked to sit outside the classroom and study, he was not allowed to drink water from the upper caste pot, he became the chairman of the drafting commission of our constitution, right? Now here he had a power, and he didn't forget about the Dalits. He owned them, right? He fought for the rights of Dalit till his death, right? So that is the real test of his character, right? Not adversity. Every person might be facing adversity, right? Say take example of BSP Supremo Mayawati. She is also a Dalit leader, right? She also rose from very lower rungs to above, right? But her usage of power was for her, wealth aggrandization, right? Collection of accumulation of wealth for herself, and her regimes have been marked by widespread corruption, right? She has installed big, made parks, installed big, images of elephants, which are her party symbol, her own, statue she has installed in the entire city, which was not required. You came from a Dalit family, you know what is the situation of Dalit families, but you didn't do any work from them, much substantial work from them when you had power. So it is a certificate of your character, right? So power, when it is given to a person, that will be telling you that what kind of person is there. You can use multiple examples. You can give example of Mahatma Gandhi also, right? You can give example of Hitler also. Hitler is a person who, when Germany was going through bad times, when they were being, I hope you have gone through world history, right? Germany was humiliated in your world war, and war reparations rates were very high on that. So he came to came to the political picture of Germany at that point of time, giving fierce speeches that he'll be creating a stronger Germany, he'll be working for Germany. But when power was given to him, you know what he did, right? He became a dictator, right? He indulged in your Holocaust, right? He indulged in the false theory of Aryan supremacy, pure Aryan blood, right? So you can see that how, when power was not there, he was in a situation, he was failing, not failing, but politically he was struggling. That once power was given, then his character was exposed, that he is not a good person. Right? There's a quote also that, power, with great power comes great responsibility. Right? So power, it gives you a lot of responsibility you have to take care. It is not for your own self benefits, for your own personal benefit. It is for the benefits for other people. Right? Now, this anecdote you can write down then. First question you will write down, how adversity tests your strength. Right? So, here lot of examples can be there. So basically you are discussing the first part of the quote, how adversity is just about strength. So you write down that it tests your resilience in face of failure. You can talk about Walt Disney, right? He was rejected so many times with this concept of, Disney World and all these things, right? On his, because people said that he's lacking creativity, right? You can give example of J.K. Rowling. She was rejected so many times, right? On her novels series Harry Potter, but she stood those struggle, right? But that is not test of her character. Right? In fact, she has now become very famous with respect to having very homophobic tweets, right? She tweets against your LGBTQ group, right? So now she had power, now she had so much following that she can advocate for these minority groups, but she's doing it in an opposite manner, right? Anyhow, don't include it. But when you are having difficulties, it just tests your strength, it tests your resilience. Then it tests your adaptability to change, right? You can give example of Nelson Mandela, right? Then emotional fortitude is checked in crisis. How much emotionally strong you are, right? How much emotionally intelligent you are. You are able to manage your own emotions. That is tested when you are in adversity, when you are in problem. Then perseverance. J.K. Rowling's example, you will get all these examples, you can check, right? Then your physical and mental endurance is checked when you are in adversity. So this, very briefly you discuss the one part of the essay topic. Next, you will be discussing how power checks the moral character, right? So now when power is given, you have to here give examples about power being a test of character, right? You can give examples of politicians, right, who are indulging in corruption, right? There are so many examples are there. Then with respect to economic part, You can talk about different scams, because here opposite side is there are entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, like Azim Premji, who do a lot of your philanthropy. They do a lot of charity work they are doing. So here power is a test of character. So you will create a contrast here. It is telling about the character of that person. Politicians corrupt, or you can talk about dictators. And on other hand, there are leaders like Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, right, who had power. Say, there's a very good example about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in jail, right? He could have taken a revenge when he came out, right? But instead he formed a council, reconciliation council, where the former racist, your apartheids, they can talk and reconciliate, go through, within themselves, through talks they can lessen the trauma which has been created in the country rather than putting them in the jail, right? So a sense of forgiveness. You have power right now, right? In fact, there is a Hindi movie in which there is a dialogue which says that when some powerful a weak person, he cannot say that I forgive you, right? First you have to become strong, and then you have to say I forgive you. Then there is a equal competition, then there is a test of your character, right? So weak person cannot say, if I am weak and somebody is strong and I say that okay, you are forgiven, obviously I am not in a position to fight with that person. But test of my character will be that when I am in the same position, when I am powerful than that person, then I say I forgive you. That is test of my character, that I am not taking revenge, right? I am not being vindictive in nature when I can do that, right? So next, here you can write down about your environment related leadership, right? So now your Donald Trump, right, he is a climate change skeptic, right? So he is saying that this is just a hoax, right? And then there are certain leaders who are constantly working with respect to your environmental mitigation, right? You can give examples of environmental leaders also, right? So these things you can do. And now there is a very contradicting example here. It is example which came in news also. Greta Thunberg is there. She is famous for her speeches, right? Your school strikes for your environment. And she was in news when she took a private jet, right? And private jet is famous that only you're carrying just one person, so much fuel, so much pollution is being wasted, right? So when you didn't have power, right, you were striking for protection of environment, and now you are supporting the same thing, right? You are responsible for such a large carbon footprint when you decided to use that particular plane, right? So these things you can write down, that how two types of leaders, right, or two types of people, when they are given power, how they act will be the test of their character. Even science in the science world you can check. There is a distinction between your Dr. Abdul Kalam and A.Q. Khan of Pakistan. A.Q. Khan, he sold the nuclear weapons, the entire the how do you make all these things, to North Korea, right? And Dr. Kalam, he has been selflessly working for India. Even his last few hours, during his death also, he was there and giving a speech, right? So he worked tirelessly for building a strong nation. So how you behave when you have power, that will decide your character. Both of them are scientists. Both of them are renowned scientists. One, when he had power, he chose to exchange it with money, and other person, when he died, he hardly had any property to leave behind except from few books and few pairs of your clothing, right? Are we clear here? Yes. So these kind of comparisons you can create in your essay. Then lastly, before you write down how to inculcate character and people holding power, you write down what are the challenges, right, which are responsible that when people come to power, they use it recklessly, right? Lack of accountability is there, lack of responsibility is there, right? Proper checks and balances are not there, right? Discretionary powers are given to them, right? Then your pressure from interest groups or pressure groups you can write down, right? So these things you can include while telling that what are the challenges with respect to that people who are in power, they tend to get corrupted, right? Then lastly, you can write down how to establish your ethical leadership, right? Then the people who are in power, they use their power judiciously. Right? So you can say the institutional measures or your executive measures, they must be strengthened. More citizen participation has to be there. Less of discretionary power should be given to them. So whatever you do in the good governance part, right, how to ensure ethical leadership comes up, you can include in the last part. Right? Are we clear here?